So let's see how you got on with this challenge of creating multiple web pages that link together. Essentially a website. So I'm going to show you how I went about doing this. So first of all, what we're going to do is create a new file. I'm going to save it as, let's say, so this is actually important now. So because we're creating a standalone website with a number of different pages and images, I actually want to create a separate folder to hold this all in. So I'm going to call it Zoo. So in this folder, this is where I'm going to create all of my web pages and images and stuff like that. This isn't something that you should have done yourself, but this is introducing a bit more to some of the best practice. So now that we're in our folder, I'm going to create I'm just going to call it homepage. So home.html. So I'm going to save that. And in here, this is where I'm going to type out I'm going to put in the comment first. And then dash dash here. So this is our comment of just all the stuff that I want to do. So first of all, I want to create a home page and home page. And in here, in this home page, I want to include a title. I want to include a image. And I also want to include link, which is like a call to arms. Call to action. So the call to action for this, on most websites, if you take a good look on their homepage, they usually have a link that's a call to action, like subscribe here or check out our prices and stuff like that. So for ours, I'm going to have the call to action as see our animals. And then finally, let's look into how we can create the navigation bar to get to the different web pages that we create. Okay, so this is all the things that I want to do for the homepage. So let's get started. First of all, HTML, I'm going to create that, and then with the title, I'm just going to call this Zoo Home, and then I'm going to create a H1. Now I'm not going to go over the top with all the content here, because I'm sure you'll be able to spend some time doing that yourself. So I'm just going to do the bare bones stuff, just to show you technically how this is done. So, welcome to my zoo site. And underneath this, I'm going to put a paragraph just saying this is in bold, great zoo. Feel free to look around. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have an image. So I'm just going to search for zoo images. Now obviously when you're creating your own website, you need to be actually getting permission to use these different images. Because I'm not actually going to be sort of using this on an official website, I'm not going to worry too much. But I'm just going to take this one here, save image as, I'm going to save this. We have our zoo folder. I'm going to create another folder in here called images. I'm going to call this just zoo, or maybe zoo welcome. Zoo _ welcome. So zoo _ welcome.jpg. Great. So in here, I'm now going to add an image. And remember, I need to include the source, src. So I need to include the source. So it's going to be images, the folder, then slash, and let's just remind myself of what I called it. So let's go to desktop, HTML practice, zoo, images. Oh, so I didn't actually save it in images. I'm just going to move that over here now. So it's going to be called zoo _ welcome.jpg. So zoo _ welcome.jpg. And as the alternative, I'm just going to call it zoo welcome picture, just in case it doesn't appear. So let's have a quick look at this. Oh, so that's actually not the one we're creating at the moment. Here we go, home. Once this opens up, you'll see we now have our header, a paragraph, and an image. And now I'm just going to add a call to action, which will just say, click below to see our animals. And then underneath that, I'm going to create an anchor, which is for linking to our different pages. And so we haven't actually got another page yet. So I'm just going to put click here. And I'm going to create another page in order to link to. So I'm going to create a completely new file, go into our folder zoo, and this is going to be our web page that shows off the animals. So I'm just going to call this animals.html. And I'm just going to create HTML. I'm just going to put a testing site. So I'm just going to say testing. This is animal site. So hopefully, if we put in here, into the href, we're going to put in animals.html. So when someone clicks on click here, this is going to click through to here. Let's give it a test. I'm going to refresh here. Click below to see our animals, click here, and it takes us to animal site. Fantastic. So now we're really making good headway here. Let's look back a while. So we've got the title, we have the image, we have the call to action. Now we want to do the navigation bar. So usually we have that at the top. So this is in the original. This is how we had it. Can you remember any time we've seen something like this before with these bullet points? It was in one of the lectures that wasn't too long ago. If you might remember, it's a list and it's a specific type of list. So we're going to include that right at the top. So above the H1. And just in case you don't remember, it's called an unordered list. So we're going to use UL, which was the tags for it. Now within this, we need to list all the items. So it's going to be list items. So I'm just going to copy and paste that because we're going to have 3 pages, right? We're going to have home. Excuse me. We have home. We're going to have animals. And we're going to have prices. Or I think tickets sounds better. We have tickets. So let's have a look at our site. Refresh. Fantastic. However, right now, they're obviously not clickable. So I'm just going to create one more HTML file, and that's for our tickets. So tickets.html, create this, and then just to testing, this is the tickets page. Okay, so now let's start doing some linking, which I'm sure by now you're starting to maybe get a bit more comfortable with. So for linking, of course, we want to use the anchor, that tag. So within this list here, we basically want to create an anchor, like this. And so for home, we obviously just want it to, well, navigate to here. So we could either leave it blank or we could add home.html. I'm going to put it as home.html here, just because we're going to be copying and pasting this, as you might imagine, into the other pages. So we have a navigation bar for all of them. Now we want to move this home in between the open and closed anchor tag. So there we go. This is starting to look better. Let's just test this. Make sure it looks at least clickable. Fantastic. Click on that. Stays at home.html as you'd expect. So let's try this again. For ease, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to change this to animals. I'm going to change this to tickets.html. So now we're going to be navigating to the 3 different pages. I'm going to change this one to our animals and tickets. Perfect. Now we go back to here, refresh, and now if we go on to our animals, takes us to the animals, tickets, takes us to tickets.html. So there's probably some kind of mistype. Tickets.html, tickets.html. What I'm guessing is going on here is because if we look at the browser, I'm quite sure this is the problem, your file was not found. I'm assuming what I've done is I've actually, this is looking for zoo/tickets.html. I think by mistake I saved it to the desktop. Let's have a look. Yes, so we don't have that file in here. So let's check out on home, did I save tickets? Yes. So I'm just going to copy this, go back in here, paste it in here, put it in the right place. And now, if we try it again, refresh, fantastic. So if we click on tickets now, it's all working. And it's actually really good for these kind of issues to come up when I'm doing the practical projects, because these happen time and time again. It's so common. It's good just to have a think about how these things can be solved. So there we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this list into all of the different pages so that we don't get stuck in any of the pages. We can always navigate. So I'm going to save that. That's also another thing to make sure you do. Whenever you make a change, make sure you save it every time. It's very helpful with Atom. If I type something, you can see at the top right here on the tab, there's a little blue circle. That means it hasn't been saved since the most recent changes. So anyway, let's take a look now. I'm going to go to our animals, then tickets. Okay, so the ticket still needs to be updated. I'm guessing this is still saving to desktop. So I'm going to change that. Yep, so I'm going to change it to zoo and then tickets and save here. Yes. Okay. And now we should have this working. Yay, on every single one. Perfect. And this is what people use to create their navigation bars at the top. It doesn't look like it at this point, but once we get into styling our pages a bit more, you will see that we can do really cool things that make this look like a proper navigation bar. So although it doesn't look that nice, you can imagine what we're doing right now is working on the stuff that's under the bonnet of the car. You know, it's the real nitty gritty, the functional stuff, and then we'll get into making it look good later on. But for now, it's really good that we're able to create the basics. So now for the animals, I believe we had a few requirements here. So just at the top, I'm going to put above the doc type. Then, nope. That. And so I'm just creating a comment here. So what I want to do in here, I want to add title. I want to add images of animals. Images of animals, link to Wikipedia. And I think those were the main requirements. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so we just wanted to have that. So let's go to animals. So we have this here. I'm also going to say add names for the animals. So first things first, let's add the title. We already have our navigation bar, which is great. So I'm just going to put this as our animals. And I'm going to have a title at the top here as well. Animals. And I'm going to put this, under our navigation bar. So instead of saying testing, this is animal site, I'm going to say welcome to our animals. Have a look at our furry friends. Then I'm going to use a H3. So this is a header, but it's going to be a bit smaller. We've used it in the past, kind of as a subheading. So I'm just going to add one animal, so this lecture doesn't go on for too long. And let's have a snake. and let's call him Slither Nook Snakeface, because who wouldn't want to have that name? It's pretty sweet. Now we need to do two things. We want to get an image and we want to get a URL. So let's start with the image. Let's get an image of a snake. Let's just type in snake. I like the look of this guy here, that's pretty cool. So we'll go into images and we'll save this just as snake. Now, snake, you can see there, it has the file extension again, JPG, snake.jpg. So, underneath, I'm going to use the image tag, which is you can see there, mg. We're going to have the source, src, that's where the file is. And essentially we need to put it's in the images folder, and the name is snake.jpg. Now the alternative text I'm going to put is snake not found. And now, so let's just take a look at this first, make sure this is all going well. Over here. Snake, Slither Nook Snakeface. Okay, now we want to add the Wikipedia. So, Wikipedia, not crocodile, we want to have a snake. So let's have a look. Perfect, this looks like the one we want. So let's take this URL, and you might remember how we want to make our image clickable. Essentially we want to include our image tag within an anchor tag. So I'm just going to put it here first, so A for anchor, and the href is going to be this, which I basically just copied from my browser. So it's the full URL, and then we want to put our full image in between those tags, just like this. And to make it look nicer, I'm just going to press enter here and enter here. Looks a bit nicer now. So then the image should now link to the Wikipedia site. Let's have a look. If I just refresh the page, I click. Perfect. Okay, so I'm quite happy with this as our animal site. And finally, let's go on to our tickets. So for the tickets, I think the requirements are going to be quite basic. We're just going to have one, table of prices, and two, we want to have a list of terms and conditions. Now, just to make sure this doesn't drag on for too long, I recommend let's take a break here, and I'll do this final web page in the next lecture. So I'll see you there.